She's probably here to steal something from the boats. My cousin Preston shouted to Marina security, pointing at me like I was a common criminal. Check her pockets. People like her can't afford a kayak rental, much less dock fees. The harbor master approaching us wasn't coming to escort me out, though. He was carrying the ownership documents I'd asked him to prepare for my insurance review. The Newport Marina gleamed in the California sunshine, a forest of white masts and million-dollar yachts stretching along the coast. I'd been walking the docks, checking on my recent acquisition, when Preston spotted me from his father's boat. He'd immediately assumed the worst, that his poor cousin Maya had snuck in to gawk at how the other half lived. "Sir, I need you to remove her immediately," Preston continued, his voice carrying across the water. "This is a private marina. She's trespassing." The security guard looked uncomfortable, caught between Preston's demands and something in my calm demeanor that suggested more to the story. "Ma'am, are you a guest of one of the boat owners?" "Not exactly," I said. "See." Preston turned to his girlfriend, Brittany, who was recording everything on her phone. "I told you she'd try to sneak in here. Probably saw our Instagram stories and thought she could pretend to belong." More people were gathering now. The Walkers from Slip 47. The Hendersons from the Yacht Club. Even old Mr. Castellano had emerged from his classic sailboat to watch the drama unfold. "Preston, there's been a misunderstanding," I said quietly. "The only misunderstanding is you thinking you can just wander onto private property. Do you have any idea what the monthly fees are here? Just the waiting list deposit is more than you make in a year." He wasn't wrong about my previous salary. As a marine biologist working for the state, I'd made decent money, but nothing close to yacht-owning wealth. Preston knew this, had mocked it at every family gathering for the past decade. "Mr. Ashworth," the security guard said, clearly recognizing Preston. "I can escort her out if—" "Ms. Reyes." We all turned to see Captain William Morrison, the harbor master, approaching with a leather portfolio under his arm. 70 years old and sun-weathered, he'd run Newport Marina for 3 decades and commanded respect from every boat owner in the harbor. "Captain Morrison," I said. "Perfect timing. I apologize for the delay. The insurance documents required updating after the last vessel arrived." He looked at the growing crowd with mild irritation. "Is there a problem here?" "Yes," Preston said, puffing up with inherited authority. "My cousin is trespassing. She has no business being here." Captain Morrison's weathered face creased into a frown. "Your cousin, Maya Reyes," Preston said, loading my name with disdain. What is it now, Maya?" "Still counting fish for the government." "Marine conservation research," I corrected automatically. "Right. Anyway, she can't afford to be here. Probably trying to take photos to post online, pretend she has a boat or something." Captain Morrison looked from Preston to me, then did something unexpected. He laughed. "Mr. Ashworth," he said, his voice carrying the authority of 3 decades at the harbor. "Are you familiar with the recent ownership change of the marina?" Preston's smugness faltered. "What ownership change?" "Newport Marina was purchased last month by Mr. Ocean Holdings. Lock, stock, and every barnacle." "So, what does that have to do with?" "Perhaps Ms. Reyes would like to explain," Captain Morrison said, handing me the portfolio. I opened it, pulling out the documents I'd requested. Insurance papers for the 12 vessels now registered under my company. The classic 1962 Chris Craft wooden yacht. The modern Sunseeker Predator. The racing sailboats. The research vessels equipped with sonar and diving platforms. "Mr. Ocean Holdings," I said, letting the words settle. "Maya Reyes Ocean Holdings." The silence was absolute except for the gentle lapping of waves against hulls. "That's—" Preston's mouth worked soundlessly. "You're lying." "Slip assignments," I continued, pulling out another document. "Ashworth Family Vessel, Slip 23. Monthly fee, $3,200. Currently 2 months behind on payment." Preston went white. "You're behind on payment?" Brittany whispered. "That's temporary," he stammered. "Business has been slow." "Which is why," I continued, "I asked Captain Morrison to prepare a payment plan option. I understand the Ashworth Construction Company has experienced some difficulties." The crowd was growing. I could see people filming, probably live streaming. The Newport Marina drama would be all over social media by noon. "This is impossible," Preston said. "You're a government employee. You drive a 10-year-old Prius. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Long Beach." "Lived," I corrected. Past tense. "But the marina sold for—" He couldn't finish the sentence. $47 million, Captain Morrison supplied helpfully. Cash purchase. Closed in 10 days. Where would you get $47 million? Preston's voice cracked. I thought about the journey. 5 years of research on microplastics in the ocean. The accidental discovery of an enzyme-producing bacteria that could break down plastic at an unprecedented rate. The patent that followed. The bidding war between chemical companies. The eventual sale to a consortium desperate for my technology. I sold something valuable, I said simply. What could you possibly have that's worth? A solution to ocean plastic pollution. Turns out, saving the world pays well. Captain Morrison cleared his throat. Ms. Reyes, shall I give you the tour now? You wanted to inspect all 12 vessels before the insurance agent arrives. 12 vessels, someone in the crowd whispered. The previous owner left his collection as part of the sale, I explained. Some need work, but they'll be perfect for the Marine Research Facility. Research facility? Mr. Castellano spoke up. You're turning the Marina into a research facility? Not the whole Marina. Just the North Dock. We're partnering with UCLA and Scripps Institution. Marine biology students need hands-on experience with boats and equipment. The research vessels will be available for supervised use. But the yacht club, Mrs. Henderson started, remains unchanged, as does 90% of the Marina. I'm not here to destroy anyone's home, just to add something meaningful. Preston found his voice again. This is a joke. Some elaborate prank. Maya works for Fish and Game. She counts dolphins or something. Worked? I corrected again. I resigned 6 months ago to focus on the patent development and sale. You want us to believe you invented something worth tens of millions? Hundreds of millions, actually, Captain Morrison said. It was in the Times. Local marine biologist discovers plastic-eating enzyme. Ring any bells? I watched recognition dawn on faces. The article had run 3 months ago, but it hadn't used my photo. I'd requested anonymity until the deal closed. That was you, Mr. Castellano said. The woman who found the bacteria near Catalina? During a routine survey dive, yes. 5 years of research later, we had a scalable solution. But you never said anything, Preston protested. At Christmas, at Grandma's birthday. I tried. Remember Thanksgiving 3 years ago? I mentioned finding something interesting in my research. You spent 20 minutes explaining why government work was for people who couldn't make it in the private sector. That's not. Or last Easter when I said I was working with a patent attorney. You laughed and said I probably discovered a new way to count fish. Brittany had stopped recording, her phone hanging limply at her side. Christmas last year, I continued. I mentioned leaving my job to pursue something big. Your dad made a toast to real jobs that pay real money while looking directly at me. We didn't know. Because you didn't listen. You saw marine biologist and decided I was a failure. Saw my Prius and assumed I was poor. Saw my apartment and wrote me off as someone who'd never amount to anything. Maya, Preston's voice was smaller now. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant every word. Every joke about me smelling like fish. Every comment about wasting my education. Every time you introduced me as your cousin who couldn't cut it in business school. Captain Morrison coughed politely. Ms. Reyes, the insurance agent will be here in 30 minutes. Perhaps we should. Of course. I turned back to Preston. About your slip fees. 2 months behind at $3,200 per month. That's $6,400 plus late fees. Would you prefer to pay now or set up a payment plan? You're really going to charge me? Your own family? The same family that called security on me? That tried to have me arrested for trespassing? That's streaming my humiliation online. Brittany quickly shoved her phone in her purse. I could evict you, I continued. That's what the previous owner would have done. But I'm offering a payment plan. Because despite everything, we are family. Disappointing family, but family. This is revenge, Preston said. This is business. Something you should understand, being such a successful construction company heir. The company is struggling, he admitted quietly. Dad made some bad investments. We're barely staying afloat. I know. I did my due diligence before buying the Marina. Ashworth Construction owes 3 months of dock fees, 2 months of yacht club dues, and has liens on half their equipment. Preston looked like he might be sick. But, I continued, the Marina is partnering with local businesses for the research facility construction. We'll need docks rebuilt, facilities updated, labs constructed. Could be worth several million in contracts. Hope flickered in his eyes. You'd consider Ashworth Construction? If they submit a competitive bid. If they can handle working for the cousin who smells like fish. I'm sorry, he said, the words seemingly pulled from somewhere deep. I was an ass. Yes. You were. Can we start over? No. But we can start from here. You knowing who I am now. Me knowing who you've always been. Captain Morrison stepped forward. Ms. Reyes, we really should begin the tour. You wanted to see the research vessel first. Yes. I looked back at Preston. You can walk with us if you'd like. Learn about the facility plans. Or you can keep standing there trying to process how your failure cousin bought your entire world. He fell into step beside us, silent for once. As we walked toward the North Dock, more people followed. The Marina community was tight-knit, curious about any changes. I found myself explaining the vision. Research vessels available to students, partnership programs with local schools, citizen science initiatives. But you'll keep the character of the Marina? Mrs. Walker asked anxiously. Enhanced, not replaced. The research facility will bring grants, educational programs, events. Property values typically increase near educational facilities. And our slips? Mr. Henderson pressed. Secured. Though I am instituting a new policy, on-time payment or payment plans. No more informal arrangements that leave some paying while others coast on reputation. Several boat owners exchanged uncomfortable looks. Apparently, Preston wasn't the only one behind on payments. We reached the North Dock where my 12 vessels bobbed in their slips. Captain Morrison began the tour, detailing each boat's condition and potential. The Patricia Marie here, he said, gesturing to a weathered research vessel. Needs engine work, but has excellent bones. The previous owner used her for tuna surveys in the 70s. She's perfect, I said, running my hand along the rail. We'll restore her to full research capacity. Maybe name her after someone who actually believed in marine science. Preston flinched at the dig, but stayed quiet. The tour continued, each boat revealing possibilities. The racing sailboats could train competitive youth teams. The dive boats would support underwater research. Even the luxury yachts had purposes. Donor events, visiting researcher housing, conference venues. You've thought this through, Preston said finally. For 6 months. Since the day I knew the patent sale would go through. Every detail planned while you were posting Instagram stories mocking your cousin's sad little life. I see that now. Do you? Or do you see dollar signs? Contract possibilities? Ways to leverage our connection now that I'm worth knowing. He didn't answer, which was answer enough. Captain Morrison led us to the last slip where a pristine research vessel waited. Modern equipment, diving platform, laboratory space. The crown jewel. Previous owner barely used her. Said she was waiting for someone who'd appreciate her properly. She's beautiful, I breathed. What will you name her? Someone asked. I thought about it. The persistence. Because that's what got me here. Not luck, not family connections, not an easy path. Just persistence. Ms. Reyes, Captain Morrison said. There's one more thing. The previous owner left a letter for the new owner. He insisted I give it to you personally. I opened the envelope, curious. Dear new owner, I hope you'll use this marina for something meaningful. I inherited it and profited from it, but I never loved it. It deserves someone who sees potential beyond boat storage. Someone who understands that the ocean connects us all. If you're reading this, you had the vision and resources to acquire Newport Marina. Use it well. Make it matter. And if someone tries to make you feel small for dreaming big, remind them that the ocean doesn't care about their opinion. It only cares about those brave enough to explore it. Charles Wellington. I folded the letter carefully, throat tight. Charles Wellington had no idea who would buy his marina, but somehow his words felt personally meant for me. Anything important? Preston asked. Just a reminder that some people see potential where others see failure. We finished the tour back at the harbor office. The insurance agent had arrived, along with my attorney and financial advisor. The business of ownership was about to begin in earnest. Maya, Preston said as I turned to go inside. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. What you've accomplished. It's incredible. No, I said quietly. What's incredible is that you're only proud now. When I have something you want. When I control something you need. That's not pride in me. That's greed dressed up as family feeling. That's harsh. That's honest. Something we haven't been with each other for years. I left him standing by the office door and went inside to sign papers that would transform Newport Marina into something meaningful. Behind me, I could hear the crowd dispersing, phones out, the story already spreading. By evening, everyone would know. The cousin who counted fish had bought the entire harbor. The family disappointment owned the dock where they moored their status symbols. The government worker they'd mocked had revolutionized ocean cleanup and turned the profits into purpose. But I didn't buy Newport Marina for revenge or recognition. I bought it because I could envision research vessels full of eager students, labs discovering new solutions, a new generation learning to love and protect the ocean as I did. Still, I couldn't deny a small satisfaction in Preston's shock, in the security guard's embarrassment, in the crowd's recognition that they'd witnessed something shift, not just ownership, but assumptions. Tomorrow, I'd begin the real work. Hiring staff, finalizing partnerships, converting boats to research vessels. The marina would slowly transform, keeping its character while adding purpose. And somewhere in that work, maybe my family would learn to see me for who I'd always been. Not the cousin who counted fish, but the woman who found solutions in the sea. Or maybe they wouldn't. Either way, I had 12 boats to restore, research facility to build, and an ocean still needing protection. The trespasser had become the owner. The failure had become the future. And the marina that had tried to keep me out now belonged to the very person they'd tried to exclude. Persistence, indeed.